conversation. I think that we've been programmed, and it's not a good thing or a bad thing. It's just how we've been programmed. So I think behind every substance addiction or some addiction on some gaming or media or whatever, there's an emotion that the person is doing their best to regulate. So let's just say a person has been exposed to a trauma, right? And when we have an event in our life that changes our emotional state, the stronger the emotion we feel from the shock, the betrayal, the trauma, the news, whatever it is, the more altered we are inside of us, the more the brain freezes a frame and takes a snapshot.
Dr. Joe Dispenza explores how addiction affects the brain's reward, motivation, and memory systems. Addiction, he explains, is a persistent problem where the body craves a substance or behavior too much, leading to a strong urge to seek reward without thinking much about the consequences. People dealing with addiction often struggle to stop using the addictive substance or behavior, have trouble controlling themselves, and feel intense cravings. They may also ignore the bad results of their actions and show less emotional reaction. Over time, addiction can mess up daily life and cause cycles of going back to the addiction and then trying to stop again. Dr. Dispenza stresses that addictions usually get worse over time and can cause long-lasting health problems and serious issues like money troubles. Dr. Joe Dispenza also explains that addiction starts because of difficulties in handling emotions. When people go through tough experiences or have a lot of emotional stress, their brains might turn to drugs, alcohol, or other activities for relief. These substances or activities release pleasure chemicals like dopamine, which briefly make them feel better. Over time, the brain gets used to this and depends on the substance or behavior to feel okay. This dependence can turn into a strong need to keep doing the addictive behavior, even if it's harmful. Dr. Dispenza says that addiction isn't just about the substance itself, but also about the emotional comfort it brings. By understanding the emotions behind addiction, people can start dealing with the main reasons for it and try to break free from it.
Let's use gaming as an example, okay? So when you blow someone up or you break through a certain level or you shoot someone or you get points for whatever you're doing in a game, there's a release of dopamine in the brain, and dopamine is the reward chemical. It's the pleasure chemical. The problem is that the amount of dopamine that's released in a very short interval of time is outside of normal. So now, rush dopamine into the brain and the receptor sites on the outside of the cell say, this is way too much dopamine than I'm used to processing. So the receptor sites actually close down. They shut down. So now, in order for the person to get that same feeling, they got to play more.
Yeah.
They got to do more. The stimulus has got to be greater. So over time, we start recalibrating those pleasure centers, those receptors, to a higher level. Now, what's the significance of that? In the absence of that stimulation, our pleasure centers have been hijacked to such a high level that we can't find pleasure in anything. You can't find pleasure from a sunset. You can't find pleasure from sitting down at the table and having a meal with your family, playing with a dog, going to see your grandparents. Especially for a lot of children, you can look at them and you can see that something happened to them where they're just glazed over.
Yeah.
That's because they're kidnapped by the technology. And so in order for them to get that same rush, they have to play more, they have to do more. Now here's really the big problem. Learning should be a reward in and of itself. Right? I mean, learning should be a reward. But now, for most people, they need a stimulus. They need something to drive their attention to whatever they're learning. And now attention is dependent on something outside of us. And when you capture people's attention, you capture their energy. So, and you can program them as a result of it. So the solution then is to teach people how to self-regulate. So we see people that come to our work that have had problems with addictions, all kinds of addictions. But really, it's some emotional addiction that really they're trying to change, right? And so they just been programmed to think that it has to happen outside of us. So what we discovered in our research is that you could actually turn that hypnosis, that conditioning around, and not wait for the experience to produce the emotion, but teach people how to self-regulate their emotional states and be able to trade resentment, frustration, anxiety for an elevated emotion. And if you keep practicing, you get really good at what you practice.
Yeah.
So good at it that you actually become it. So then when people start to self-regulate, we actually measure what happens to their physiology when they do it properly. And it becomes a habit. And so then when the person notices then that their body's out of balance, they have one of two choices. They can rely on some exogenous substance or something outside of them, or they can take a moment and recalibrate their emotional state. And the only challenge, I think, with addictions is that the moment you say, I'm not going to drink coffee, I'm not going to smoke cigarettes, I'm not going to drink alcohol, I'm not going to have sugar. The moment you make that conscious declaration with your conscious mind, the body has been conditioned and dependent on that substance. So 2 hours goes by and the body has modified its receptor sites and it starts talking to the brain. It starts saying, Rangan, why don't you start tomorrow? Tomorrow's a better day. Any other day but this day, this is not a good day for you. It's my parents' fault. It's my boss. It's the news. And that thought is being driven by the body-mind. Now, if we act on that thought, we make it the same choice, we do the same thing, we create the same experience, we feel the same emotion, and then all of a sudden that emptiness or that emotional state goes away, and the person returns back to the known.
Dr. Joe Dispenza explains how our emotions directly impact our physical health and mental well-being. He emphasizes that emotions aren't just feelings, but powerful forces that trigger chemical reactions in our bodies. For example, when we feel stressed, our bodies release cortisol, a stress hormone, which, if consistently high, can harm various bodily functions. On the flip side, experiencing positive emotions like happiness and gratitude releases dopamine and serotonin, known as feel-good chemicals, which not only boost our mood but also strengthen our overall health, including our immune system. Moving on to meditation, Dr. Dispenza highlights its transformative effects on both our biology and brain function. Through regular meditation practice, individuals can learn to manage their emotions, reduce stress levels, and achieve a deep state of relaxation. This relaxation can lead to positive changes in brain activity, promoting coherence among different brain regions and encouraging more balanced brainwave patterns. Dr. Dispenza discusses the numerous benefits of meditation for mental and physical well-being. Meditation helps individuals achieve a profound sense of calmness, allowing the body and mind to rest and recharge. This relaxation response can alleviate stress-related issues and improve overall health. Dr. Dispenza emphasizes meditation's role in helping individuals take control of their thoughts and emotions. By practicing mindfulness and detaching from negative thought patterns, people can experience increased mental clarity, emotional stability, and resilience when facing life's challenges. He explains how meditation can even cause structural changes in the brain, known as neuroplasticity, which enhances cognitive function, concentration, and memory. These changes demonstrate how meditation can optimize brain health and cognitive performance over time. Furthermore, Dr. Dispenza underscores meditation's ability to foster a deep sense of connection and well-being. Practices like loving-kindness meditation enable individuals to cultivate compassion, empathy, and a greater sense of purpose, leading to healthier relationships and a more fulfilling life journey.
We have a very high percentage of men that come to our work. And I think the number one reason why, Rangan, is because we use science as the model. We rationalize, we combine quantum physics with neuroscience, with neuroendocrinology, with psychoneuroimmunology, the mind-body connection, epigenetics, electromagnetism. We build a model. So guys they like to understand all of that stuff so they can reason with it so they can leap. Women somehow tend to be a lot more intuitive.
Yeah.
It resonates with them. They trust that, and they just seem to flow a little differently. But then again, we have men that come, and of course, a lot of times their partner wants them to come, but they really come because they notice the change in their partner. They're like, wow, they're way different. I can see that their response to things is completely different. In other words, my memory of them, this person is not fitting into how I remember them. They're out of phase, So then when men finally do commit and they understand the science, and gosh, I mean, it's a really big thing for a man to get in touch with those feelings, right? Because in the game of competition, the rut, the roost. You're always trying to compete. You're always trying to get ahead. You're always can't be vulnerable. Well, that works for a really a good amount of time when you are matter trying to change matter, when you got to do things and you got to work hard and you got to be driven and all that stuff, sacrifices. But we teach that there's another way to create, actually, and that is really that opportunity for them to open their hearts. Now, I have stood next to men that have done it and completely reversed the health condition within a very short amount of time because here comes the house of cards. They just realize that they've been holding this facade, this image of themselves, just so that they can keep up and play the game. And instead of waiting for crisis or disease or diagnosis, and once they get in touch with their feelings again, there's nothing like a man who's leading with his heart. Oh my God, they consider the whole. And then you take a look at women, and this is just, again, a general observation. Women hold the family together. They make a whole lot of sacrifices. They continue to forgive. They do a lot of things. They put themselves after they've taken care of their family. And all of a sudden, they already know how to love. You just teach them how to get very clear on their intention and watch out. I mean, women do amazing work.
Dr. Joe Dispenza acknowledges that when it comes to meditation, men and women may have different approaches influenced by societal norms, cultural backgrounds, and individual preferences. He highlights that while both genders can derive benefits from meditation, they may have unique motivations and experiences. For instance, men might be attracted to meditation for its potential to improve focus, enhance performance, and manage stress, aligning with traditional ideals of productivity and achievement. In contrast, women may see meditation as a form of self-care, a way to heal emotionally and nurture relationships. They may seek refuge in meditation, finding respite from the daily pressures and responsibilities often associated with caregiving roles. Dr. Dispenza stresses that despite these differences, the benefits of meditation are available to everyone, regardless of gender. Whether aiming for mental clarity, emotional stability, or spiritual growth, individuals of any gender can find value in integrating meditation into their lives. Moreover, he encourages individuals to explore their preferences and needs in meditation, adapting techniques and approaches that resonate with their personal goals and values. By embracing these differences and fostering diversity in meditation practices, people can cultivate a more inclusive and supportive meditation community. In conclusion, Dr. Joe Dispenza's insights into the profound relationship between emotions, meditation, and overall well-being provide valuable guidance for navigating life's challenges. By recognizing the impact of emotions on our biology and brain function, we can harness meditation's power to cultivate resilience, clarity, and physical health. Through consistent practice, we can learn to manage stress, regulate our emotions, and forge deeper connections with ourselves and others. As we continue to explore meditation's transformative potential, may we embark on a journey toward greater self-awareness, inner peace, and fulfillment in our lives.